children to thrive, they need calm reassurance from the adults around them. Helping every child have a safe harbour is always important, particularly when parents share their caring responsibilities across two households due to separation or divorce. The same messages can also apply to a family with more than one person in a parenting or caring role. Today we're discussing some helpful tips for managing shared parenting responsibilities with parenting and family psychology expert Professor Matt Sanders and Professor Daryl Higgins, Director of the Institute of Child Protection Studies at the Australian Catholic University, whose research has focused on public health approaches to protecting children.
My kids are worried about their dad during all of this because we haven't been having the usual face-to-face contact.
I'm really worried about the kids' safety right now. Their mother's a nurse, so she could be exposed to virus patients.
The COVID-19 pandemic has many of us feeling quite unsettled. During this time of uncertainty, we're likely to need a little extra support as a parent. And also, we have a need to make an extra effort to keep our family lives as calm and as consistent as we can for our children. Now, to keep things as routine and positive as we can, there are a few things we can try. We can try to keep to predictable visits as much as possible within any physical distancing guidelines. Be prepared to add extra contact by phone or video chat so that children can see that their other parent is okay. Be available and listen carefully when your child wants to talk, and try to be non-judgmental. If they share information with you about the other parent, because it's easy to slip into being a bit judgy in those situations. Include the children in discussions about what's happening in each household and what is different because of the coronavirus situation, and try to reassure them that everyone is doing their best to keep them safe. I think one of the most important things is just simply to aim to communicate positively. Stress makes all of us irritable, so being conscious of how we're speaking and trying to avoid things like put-downs or criticisms of the other parent, even if their opinions and actions differ from your own.
Their dad is just so irresponsible. He's drinking earlier and earlier now he's not working, and then he's ready for an argument.
Yeah, we just don't seem to be on the same wavelength anymore.
I know I have a short fuse when I'm stressed, and I know I get sarcastic and critical about their mum.
One of the most important things is for parents and carers to communicate positively with each other. Daryl, what are your thoughts about that? I mean, what do you think are some of the key points that are important here?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Absolutely. Talking between parents is really important. And in this time of COVID-19, it can be a bit of a challenge because I think the best way to communicate is for that to be in person. If not, then online, being able to get those visual cues so that you can pay attention to body language and to facial expressions, particularly where you're having sensitive conversations. And of course, one of the areas where that can occur is really around where parents might differ in their views of risk and their alternative ways, if you like, of managing risks. So if you disagree about something such as whether children should go shopping with you or whether they should have a friend stay over, the really important thing is to be able to kind of empathise with the other parent's point of view and trust that you both have the best interests of the child at heart. So that really means about finding the positives. So acknowledge that positive intent behind what it is that the other parent is suggesting, even if you may not agree yet on what they've proposed and you want to make an alternative suggestion.
Yeah, that's a very important idea you've conveyed there. And of course, I mean, the other thing that parents perhaps can be focusing on is just practicing the idea of kindness. The best lesson you can teach your kids is to model with the other parent how you want them to treat others. Ask yourself if in 10 to 15 years' time, when your children are adults, they could hear what you're about to say, Would you be proud of what you said and how you said it? Did you model the kind of respectful behaviour that you would like them to grow up being able to do? Or do you wish you'd approach things just very differently? If it's the latter situation, then just stop and reflect on what's happening and consider how to act differently next time. There's always a new day.
My ex has been using the lockdown situation as an excuse not to see the kids. It really hurts them when he doesn't come.
I have absolutely no idea what's happening when they're with their dad. Who knows if they wash their hands or keep physical distance. It is a real worry.
We've talked before about having stable, predictable routines and how reassuring that can be for children. But we also need to be flexible at times like this. This is a time to be nimble and to respond to changes in a way that best supports your family. So you may need to create new routines and to discuss how you manage the transition between your two households and to prepare your children for the handover the best you can. Darryl, what are your thoughts on that?
I think, Matt, you've touched on a really important issue about the issue of flexibility. And that can be really tough when you're parenting across two households. But I think that flexibility has to really be focused on helping children learn what the current expectations are in your household, but to recognise that there might be a different set of expectations in another household. The important thing is to try and get to what's really at the heart of those different routines. And that is that there might in fact be variations that are of an overall theme, such as the importance of hand washing. And if in your household you believe that using soap is better than hand sanitizer and the other parent disagrees, can you just agree to disagree? Because either way, you actually have the same essential message, which is it's important for us to follow hand hygiene and to teach our children about keeping hands clean. And I think what we know from parenting research is that kids can soon learn that key message that we always need to keep our hands clean. And we do it in this household one way and we do it in another household another way. But no matter what it is, we have to keep focused on the important thing. When it comes to those new rules that we've all been learning during this COVID-19 pandemic around personal hygiene, we need to be able to frame our new rules or our new routines, if you like, around recognition that there are different ways of achieving the same goal of having clean hands before eating or before preparing food, whether it's using hand sanitizer or using soap and water and, singing for 20 seconds, such as happy birthday. They all are achieving the same goals.
And it turns into a win-win scenario when that happens, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Look, I think if we think about the key takeouts here, parents care for their kids best when they feel supported. So the idea is to get support from your families and friends the best you're able to, but before you actually need to call upon it, so you have it in place. Make time to nurture and care for yourself and to ensure your own needs are being met when children are with you, as well as making the most out of those times when the children are with the other parent. So you can recharge your batteries and have the energy to do the kind of parenting you'd like to do when they return. If you have any safety concerns, you can seek support from your local family relationship centre. They can help you work out what are safety issues and how to get help to protect your children from harm. If you think your child is at risk of immediate harm, then always take action and report the matter to the police or Child Protection Services. So Darryl, when you think about this important issue, are there any particular takeouts that you would like to share with parents?
Yeah, Matt, I think the most important takeout is to be able to shift the focus away from ourselves and our job as a parent to actually the well-being of our children. And that task we share with another parent who's in another household together. What can we do to make this child's life safe and for them to feel supported. And for any disagreements that we have about parenting styles, and particularly the challenges to our typical routines, including diversity of practices across two households in the context of this pandemic, to be able to recognise flexibility is important, and really to keep focused on the resilience of children to be able to adapt and cope to the changing environments, as long as we are there to support them and keep focused on their well-being, not the issue of, am I doing the right thing and am I the best parent out of the two of us?
That's all for this episode of Parenting in a Pandemic. Here are some tips for sharing the parenting responsibilities. Tip number 1, keep things predictable and communicate positively. Tip number 2, you may need to be flexible and develop some new routines. Remember, you'll need to help children learn what's to be expected in each household. And tip number 3, this is a difficult time for everyone, so it's good to make a conscious effort to be kind, stay connected, check in with others, and be a team. Thanks for listening to Parenting in a Pandemic. If you're enjoying this podcast, make sure you like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to leave a review. It'll help others to find this series. You can find free COVID-19 Parenting in a Pandemic resources in the episode show notes to help you on this journey.